In terms of creating the game, to what extent do you get like Lego master builders on one side to design the build and video game people on another, or are they people who just know both?
Well, we have our version of Lego master builders. We have a Lego building team, and they're great, and we use them mainly for unique vehicles and things that you find in standalone games that we've had in the past. But when we created the tag items, we actually worked hand in hand with Lego designers. So we kind of had an idea that the Batmobile would have these functions, the Batmobile 2 would have these functions, and the Batmobile 3 would have these functions. And then working with the amount of bricks we have, the master builders come back to us from Lego with a number of different designs, and we basically select which ones we like, and then we work together to kind of get them in game and get them right. So it is a very collaborative process to create the tag items that we have.
So there's a quota for a number of bricks on the
So we start with the main build. That's how we always begin. So, you know, for Sonic, we'll start with the biplane, and we'll know exactly what we want the biplane to look like, and then we'll try and condense it down to what can fit on the portal. That's very important to us. Like, real estate is important on the gateway. So we have like a footprint that most things need to fit into, and then we work from there, really.
So how much time in the planning for the year 2 content did it get from the process to the actual release?
Wow, with Lego, we probably, I think, was like 2 years or something. It's something like that. It's something like we start really early because for them, obviously, manufacturing is a big thing. They are a very well-oiled machine, and they need to. I mean, from a game perspective, the software. We make software. We're a software company. We know exactly the Lego games we've been making for many years. We're obviously a bit more flexible. When they start to cut steel, that's when things get real.
So all the IPs that are in the year 2 content, you already had it planned?
Yeah, exactly. We whittle it down from a very big list. I think we started with like 30, 40 IPs, and we just whittle it down to. We have engagement surveys with Warner Brothers are great with those kind of things. We work out what is the most popular stuff from crazy ideas that we have back in the office. Wouldn't it be great if the kids and the adults kind of tell us. They're a good barometer of what kind of things are current and what people want. But that process began about a year and a half ago for this, while we were still in the middle of making Dimensions Season 1, I think.
Once you get the rights to a property for Dimensions, does it follow automatically that Lego could make a bigger set of it if they wanted, or
I don't know.
Is it separate where it's limited and you only get the license for like 200-piece Gremlin set for the game, and they couldn't do a 1,000-piece Gremlin set if they wanted to?
I think Lego could if the IP was right for them, they could make anything. No one would turn Lego away. I can't imagine.
I just mean like with DC and Disney. Obviously, you probably can't do those yet, or couldn't before because of Infinity. But would it work the other way? Like if you get Gremlins for the game, does that automatically?
I think it's more a case of the Lego company would decide for themselves. They would approach that IP holder separately and say, we've done this and it went well. Would you like to do something else?
Okay.
I think they're not. I don't think they're linked in that regard. I'm not a massive expert on the legal side of that, but I do think that Lego's Lego, right? I think there's no one they could go to and would say no to them. I can't imagine. So normally we do deals just for us, and sets just for us. And if Lego want to make bigger sets from that, then great. I think they recently released the 60s Batman kind of situation. Obviously, we did that in our game. Now, I'm not sure if they did it because we did it. I'd like to think they did, but they probably didn't. But anyway, we do have a great relationship with them, working all the time. So, sometimes, for example, we were making the new Ghostbusters pack, which we're still making at the moment. And I actually didn't know at the time when we started making it that they were doing a new Ecto at all. And literally I got a screenshot across my door and it was like, oh, here's the new set. And it's like, huh? why didn't you tell me? And they were just kind of like, oh, it was kind of a secret. It's like, so, you know, they do show us stuff, but often they're maybe 1 or 2 steps ahead, especially with the manufacturing process.
So does that mean the build on your Ecto is completely different from the build on
The mini build is obviously different because it's this big, but the actual build in the cutscenes and stuff that we show is the same. We got it just in time.
And seeing that the main Lego games still are being released, you know, alongside Dimensions,
Yeah.
does that ever create a conflict? Say, if you guys want to do something that a main game's being made from, is there any kind of restriction in that
No,
sense?
I mean, we've never really had an issue. I mean, we covered already a few games that we made standalones of. It's not something that we really think about from our side. If we are to, I mean, one of the things I like to do, for example, we made a Lord of the Rings level in season 1, and I wanted to make sure I didn't go back to a location I'd already taken the players when I made Lord of the Rings. So we took them to Minas Tirith, which we'd never really done before. We kind of touched on it in the main game, but we never went inside the city. And that was why we did that, because I didn't want to take them back to a location they've already been to. So that, I think, is probably the only concern we'd ever have. If we were to do a level from a different game, we would make sure that we went to a new location that people had never seen before.
Right.
Lego Dimensions is not as much the sandbox building version of the Lego games, but have you explored the possibilities of virtual reality now that those are becoming so popular?
Not yet. And the reason I think we have avoided the VR kind of place at the moment, obviously we're a massively kid-orientated developer, probably one of very few these days. And at the moment, with the headsets being massively expensive and the setup being massively expensive, it's not really a field we're going to go into yet. I mean, things change, right? You know, things get cheaper and kids stop throwing up eventually. So maybe when those things occur, then we may look into it. But for now, we're more focused about how we can make our games more accessible to families, and that's our big kind of NO, I suppose.
And down the road, is it possible that the games might expand to include a way that you can like design your own like worlds or levels to be able to
I
share?
think that's been a dream of ours for a long time. I mean, we've always had aspirations to that. We even touched on it in Indie 2, and we had the Builder, which was something that we worked on for a while. We kind of shelved it for a little bit because we were moving in a slightly different direction. And of course, Lego Worlds has been in testing for a long time now, and that's looking awesome. So I think maybe at the moment we're working on it separately with Worlds, and that is a completely separate project. But you never know. Moving forwards, I don't know. I'd love to, but the technology's there maybe. But the technology in Worlds is amazing. If you guys haven't seen it, you should try and get a Steam copy. It's awesome, and the stuff that we can do in that definitely makes me smirk and think maybe.
Why don't we just have a couple more questions and we'll rotate to you with Arthur.
So I know you guys are more of a console version of the game. Do you guys plan on doing a PC version? Because I know a lot of fans have been.
Do you know what? I don't know. I don't think we are. I don't think so. Not that I've seen. I don't see anything on the horizon where we are developing for PC on Dimensions. Obviously, the standalone games go through PC, but we're mainly focusing on the consoles at the moment.
And with so many new IPs being introduced, I know a major feature of Season 1 was that the core story mode integrated everything else, but this one's focusing a little more on the individual story packs for certain properties.
Yeah.
Is there any chance down the road that there might be another like full-scale story mode that would integrate all these new characters into like one world, or is that kind of its own challenge?
I mean, it's definitely a challenge. I mean, as I say, the big thing for us is not having to release, you know, another $80 to $100 pack with a new portal and all that kind of business.
Right.
And we've not really investigated continuing on the story from Dimensions yet. The standalone packs have a lot of little hints towards maybe something we might be doing moving forwards. They do touch on the story, but of course, since you could have played them in any order, it's trickier to kind of assume the player has finished Dimensions 1 and now they're on Season 2. So we kind of do touch on Season 1 in Season 2 in the story packs, and there is also a lot more crossover in the story packs than there were in Season 1. So for example, in the Ghostbusters cutscene that we've shown a lot of people, if you actually look in the background, you can see Marty McFly walking past, and you can see the Mystery Machine driving past, and we're kind of bringing a lot of that into the cutscenes. So it's the Ghostbusters story with Dimensions elements kind of in there, which is something new for season 2, because in season 1, in the story level packs, we just told, that level really. But we kind of thought we'd put some mashup in there as well now moving forward, so it's pretty good.
Great. Thanks, Jimmy.